You hear the question asked all the time, how good was an NBA superstar in their prime? Often the answer is inflated for some of the greatest names we have ever seen, a hindsight assessment wrapped up in nostalgia. But for James Harden, there is no denying that he had one of the highest peaks in NBA history. It is true that you just had to be there. It's true that he was one of the most unstoppable offensive forces to ever grace the league. In a world full of takes that overuse the word historic, Harden embodied every ounce of the word.
Yeah, and he's one of the best in the league at it.
That's right. Harden steps back, fires and hits.
James don't get enough credit. James is a basketball genius.
It was on Harden. Around him and he hammers it home.
He's the best one-on-one player I may have ever seen.
Harden one-on-one here. Yeah, James doubling up the Clippers. Clean up on aisle three. Clean up on aisle three.
I'm not a fan of in terms of winning championships. I don't think that style is ever going to win championships. But at the same time, you have to keep your team's head above water to win games. So you have to do what you have to do to win games, and he's doing that.
The summer of 2012 changed everything for the Beard and for the NBA. The Oklahoma City Thunder, worried about luxury tax implications, traded their sixth man to the Houston Rockets. On paper, you can make the case it looked like a reasonable business move. Harden wasn't yet the MVP caliber player he would turn out to be. He was the talented spark plug behind Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook. But history has a funny way of rewriting itself. That trade, once seen as a pragmatic one, has since become one of the most second-guessed decisions in NBA history. Because by sending Harden to Houston, the Thunder didn't just lose a player, they handed the Rockets the keys to a superstar waiting to be unleashed. The Euro step, the foul drawing mastery, the ability to dictate pace like a quarterback running a 2-minute drill. Houston had given him the keys, and Harden wasted no time learning how to drive the modern NBA offense better than almost anyone in history. If Harden's early Houston years were the blueprint, the arrival of Mike D'Antoni in 2016 was the full architectural masterpiece. D'Antoni's pace and space offense was built for a player like Harden. With shooters spacing the floor and the ball in his hands virtually every possession, Harden reached an entirely new level. By the 2016-17 season, he was putting up video game numbers: 29 points, 11.2 assists, and 8.1 rebounds per game, 22 triple-doubles, the first player in league history to record 2,000 points, 900 assists, and 600 rebounds in a single season. Harden's step-back three became a staple of modern basketball, copied and studied by players everywhere. He was bending the geometry of the court and forcing defenders to abandon traditional schemes just to slow him down. Between 2017 and 2020, James Harden was, without exaggeration, one of the most unstoppable offensive forces the league has ever seen. In that 3-year window, he scored 50 or more points in 18 different games. To put that into perspective, only Wilt Chamberlain, Michael Jordan, and Kobe Bryant have more 50-point games in their entire careers. In the 2018-19 season, Harden averaged 36.1 points per game, becoming just the second player in the modern era to break the 36-point barrier, joining only Michael Jordan in 1987. And here's the wild part. Everyone in the arena knew exactly what Harden wanted to do, and they still couldn't stop him. Opposing defenses tried everything, trapping him at half court, face guarding him 30 feet from the basket, even having defenders like Ricky Rubio stand behind him to try and take away the step-back three. Nothing worked. Harden was too quick, too crafty, too smart. And if you overplayed the shot, he'd blow by you and either finish at the rim or get to the free throw line, where he averaged 10 plus free throw attempts per game during those peak years. Former teammate Donatas Motiejunas summed it up best: no one could figure out how to guard him. At his prime, he was shooting 18 to 20 free throws a game because nobody could understand how he was playing basketball. The arrival of Chris Paul in 2017 brought a new dynamic to Houston. Many doubted whether two ball-dominant guards could coexist, but Harden and Paul proved to be an elite pairing. Together, they led the Rockets to a franchise-best 65-17 record in 2017-2018. Harden won his first and only MVP that season, highlighted by the first ever 60-point triple-double in NBA history. And in the playoffs, they came within a single game of taking down the Golden State Warriors dynasty with Kevin Durant. Had Chris Paul not injured his hamstring late in the Western Conference Finals, many believed the Rockets would have won that series and likely the championship. It remains the great what-if of Harden's career, the closest he'd ever come to getting that elusive ring as the first option. Harden's prime is one of the great paradoxes in NBA history. Statistically, what he did is almost unmatched. 5 50-point triple-doubles, more than any player in NBA history. A 4-year stretch between 2016 to 2020, averaging 31.7 points, 6.6 rebounds, and 8.5 assists per game. A level of offensive efficiency and usage that literally forced defenses to invent new schemes. Yet for all that dominance, the one thing Harden never achieved in Houston was a championship. And in the NBA, fair or not, rings define legacies. Critics point to his playoff struggles, to the moments where his efficiency dipped or his aggression faded. And those critiques aren't without merit. But to say those failures erase what he accomplished in the regular season, that's a narrative that doesn't hold up under scrutiny. Even Harden's 2018 MVP season carries a bit of controversy. Some fans and analysts argued that LeBron James, who was dragging a flawed Cavaliers team to the finals, deserved the award. But when you look at the numbers and the context, it's hard to deny Harden earned it. He was the engine of a 65-win team, leading the league in scoring and orchestrating one of the most efficient offenses in history. His combination of speed, explosion, elite handle, change of direction, and game manipulation made him a nightmare to defend. That season wasn't just about stats, it was about a player completely in control of the game every time he stepped on the floor. So how good was prime James Harden really? He was one of the greatest offensive players of all time, period. His skill set was a perfect storm, elite scoring in every area of the floor, vision and passing that made him just as dangerous as a facilitator, and the physical and mental sharpness to manipulate defenses like very few players ever have. And while the lack of a ring will always be a but in any conversation about his legacy, it shouldn't overshadow what he did. Harden redefined what an NBA offense could look like. He helped usher in an era of high-volume three-point shooting and isolation-heavy attacks. Most importantly, he gave fans some of the most jaw-dropping performances the league has ever seen. From historic scoring runs to unprecedented triple-doubles, Harden's prime was a masterclass in offensive dominance. The story of prime James Harden is one of brilliance and frustration, innovation and heartbreak. He was unstoppable in the regular season, the kind of player who could control every possession and dictate every outcome. In his peak years, teams were literally inventing new ways to try and fail to slow him down. No, he never won the big one in Houston, but if that's the only metric you use to judge greatness, you're missing the bigger picture. Prime James Harden wasn't just good, he was historic. He was revolutionary. And whether you loved him or hated the player he was, there's no denying that we may never see another player quite like him again. As always, thank you for watching. I'm Damian Peters, and I'll see you in the next one.